Ram asked us a very interesting question at the time. He asked us, what do you think leaders struggle with more? Strategy or the execution of strategy? What do you think we said? What would you have said? Execution. Good, because if you didn't say that, I would have been dancing for the next hour. So the next question, this follow-up question, really got us and was probably more responsible for the next 15 years of this practice more than anything else. And the next question was, what do leaders study more in business school? Execution or strategy? Strategy. And hence you have that little bit of a breakdown. And whenever you're trying to execute upon a strategy, that execution, that change in taking the organization from point A to point B will come in one of two flavors. Either it'll be a stroke of the pen change or a behavioral change. And stroke of the pen,
They're recognizing the value of when you're having it at the point of need that seems to solve a lot of the other issues downstream, that you're solving them immediately rather than waiting for a conversation that may or may not happen dependent upon the work.
same thing, the buying issue. What's interesting, this behavioral change thing, no one argues with Frank and Covey that this is really important in order to move the organization and to execute upon a strategy. All the leaders we speak to say, yes, we know this is important. But what we don't see is leaders going around saying, I wish I was better at this. What we more often than not see is leaders going around saying, I wish I didn't have Amy, Catherine, and Jennifer on my team. And that's where the conversation ends. You've heard of Edwards Deming, the father of the quality movement. What Edwards Deming said is that whenever a majority of the people behave a certain way the majority of the time, the problem is not with the people. The problem is with the system. And we as leaders, we need to own that, don't we? So what have we said so far? We said that execution harder than strategy, execution requiring a behavioral change really hard, and we don't get to blame the people. So let's see what this execution strategy looks like when it's working. And there are always these five rungs on this pyramid whenever an organization, and we've seen this, the laggards, let's call them, they are waiting to see what happens with this new initiative. Let those early adopters stick both feet in. We're only going to stick a toe at best. And then, this is like the stall phase here, between 2 and 3. And months could go by. 2, 3, 4 months go by, and everyone's talking a good game, but no one's doing anything. And then what happens? Tell me, this used to happen at my organization all the time. Then what happens, a different Mr. and Mrs. C-suite person or a different Mr. and Mrs. VP is having another meeting about a different initiative. Everybody gets back in the cafeteria. We're going to roll this new thing out. Totally different than the thing that was rolled out 4 months ago. Human nature. Do you jump to the new thing or do you stick with what was rolled out 4 months ago? You jump. That's human nature. So remember, we had two groups of people. We had early adopters and we had laggards. Who did we just punish? We punished the early adopters and we rewarded the laggards. The next initiative that your organization tries to roll out, will it be easier or harder? It's going to be harder. One of our consultants said that if you're not careful, you can actually train your organization to outlive initiatives. Right? The flavor of the month, right? The flavor of the quarter. And that's what this whole program, 4 disciplines of execution, addresses. So we had a really good idea of where execution was breaking down, but we didn't know why